Hello and welcome back to our channel. In this video, I'm going to be photographing slides for eBay, and these slides in particular are a lot of scenery and landscape slides. When I go through all my other slide lots, I'll pull out random pictures of the sky or trees or backgrounds or the road and things that people might not want with the lots or that I don't know distinctly where they're from, and I put them in a lot together. And when I get enough of them, in this particular video, it's 200. So when I get enough of them, I just lot them together and sell them as like landscape or scenery slides. And that's how I do this lot. I don't sell them by year. It helps when I cut down on the other pictures because someone who's buying a lot of Tokyo doesn't want a random rose or a bush or something. So I will put those in this lot. And when I go through, it helps weed out some slides too and move boxes and stuff around with that. I will say, if you see in these videos me pulling slides out of plastic bags, I do not store them in plastic bags, but as I'm sorting them out for that day, I am putting them in plastic bags. And like I said in past videos, I set aside a weekend to photograph and list things. So I probably list for 4 hours a day for 2 days of slides, and I'll just sit down and knock out as many as I can in 4 hours. I do it on weekends because that's when I have help with my kids, and weekdays I'm working, so I don't have the ability to do it a lot while I'm working, even though my semester is coming towards an end and I will have more time. But unfortunately, when my school ends, so does my children's ends, and we're all home together all the time. And that does not lend well for photographing. So what I usually do is when I get close to the end of my semester, I usually have a week between when I'm done and when my kids are done. And in that week, I try to photograph as much as I can because I know over the summer I'm not going to be able to photograph. I'm not going to have the ability to sit down and just spend hours taking photographs of items for eBay. I would say it would be nice that I didn't have items to photograph. I still do. We still have a large death pile downstairs in our basement that we'd really like to get out of the way so it's a more usable space. It's a furnished basement, and we could be using it as like a game room and a playroom, but instead it's storing all of my eBay crap. My goal would be by the end of the summer to get all my eBay listed and get it all into my garage in the storage containers, except for things that have to be climate controlled, in which we do have shelving units in our great room to store those on. Like slides, I do not store in my garage because my garage is not climate controlled. My garage gets hot in the summer and cold in the winter. Unfortunately for me, my laundry room is also in my garage and it's not climate controlled. So at least once a year, I flood my garage because the seal on my front load washing machine freezes and doesn't seal properly. So I also can't have things on the floor of my garage in case that happens. I will say this winter I had a very big accomplishment and did not flood my garage at all with my washing machine. So I felt like very much like an adult and I was winning the game. I had to use a space heater directed straight at my washing machine to make sure the seal was flexible and not frozen for at least 30 minutes before I ran the first load of laundry. But it did work. So there's that. That's my summer goals. I try to set goals for each quarter. So we finished quarter one on April 1st. I'm recording this at the end of April. April 1st, we finished quarter one. I was very behind in my goals I'd set for myself for quarter one. I think I set the goals too high. I'm trying to set more attainable goals. I don't know if you guys have ever had issues with that, where you just set the goals so high that when it looks like you're not going to achieve it, you just kind of stop. Well, I was like, I'm going to photograph all of my death piles. I'm not going to have anything not photographed. No, I didn't say listed. I just said photographed because I have things that I have photographed that I have not listed as of right now. But I wanted to get everything photographed so I could get it in its containers and get it organized and into my garage out of my great room or processing area. That did not happen. We had a whole bunch go on in quarter one. Unfortunately for us, we had a bunch of snow days. I had several weeks that my kids were home. We had to do contact, where I had at least a kid home every 2 weeks. So it was rough the first quarter. My sales were really slow, which was not motivating at all, unfortunately. And it just, it is what it is. I can't beat myself up too much for it, because if I beat myself up too much for it, I won't get it done next quarter. So my goal for next quarter, no matter what, I'm photographing everything. If it's not photographed by the end of summer, so I'm giving myself honestly until probably Q4. So all of summer, if it's not photographed, it's getting redonated. I can't hold on to this stuff for over a year. And by September, it would be over a year. So it has to be photographed before school starts again in September. I could even be a little nicer and give myself till Q4, till October, but it's got to be done. So that is my goal this summer. My other goal this summer is to pull all my stuff out of my garage, everything, eBay inventory, my stuff, my kids' stuff. We have bikes that my kids have outgrown several years ago. I just need to pull everything out of the garage and put everything back in. You know, if you've ever dumped out a junk drawer and had to take everything out of the junk drawer, look at it, and put it back in. Ideally, I would have a garage sale or a rummage sale when I'm doing that, but I don't know if I have the time to do that. And that takes a lot of planning. You have to get the change for it. I might list some stuff on Marketplace, but most of it will get probably donated just because it's easier that way. If the places are taking donations, which right now a lot of places around us are not taking donations. So I know I need to go through and just clear my garage out. There's probably things in my garage that need to be gone. Other things, I want to do it after we get back from vacation and stuff, because I don't know about you guys, but I am an overpacker. I overpack everything. I'm an overplanner. I'm a worst case scenario, so I'm going to pack this in case, just in case, you know, I may not need it, but I want to pack it anyway. I am going to put a couple of videos on this channel about packing and what I ended up using and what I don't end up using, but those won't even be published till after we are back, because, you know, you don't want people on the internet knowing you're not home and everything. So I'm going to record a couple of those hopefully in the near future, but I also know that that's a lofty goal. I don't know where I see this YouTube channel going. I don't have a lot of views. I don't have a lot of subscribers, but it does keep me accountable to myself. I'm going to do this so I can film it. Granted, it hasn't even been a year and I don't even have 100 videos, but I've had other things going on. It's been a very rough year educationally, and that is the area in which I work, is education, and it's been a really rough year. And just classroom management, the amount of needs I'm dealing with, and losing one of my jobs in 2 weeks. It is closed, it is done. So having to deal with closing out a college, usually closing out the end of a semester is rough, but having to close out a college and make sure all of my stuff I have backed up because I won't have access to anything in 2 weeks is very stressful. I've never had to deal with that before, and I hope I don't have to deal with it ever again. I've had to work, through times in which we didn't have a budget. I started working when the recession started, so that's when I first graduated from college and started working, was right when the recession happened. And so, I've worked through crappy times, and I'm kind of worried that we're heading into another recession. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm chicken littling it. I hope that I'm predicting the sky's falling and I'm panicking for no reason. But having lived through one recession, this feels very similar to that, especially when we're looking at the housing market, when we're looking at the car market, and just not being priced out of things, not being able to buy things. yes, minimum wage is going up, which is great. It needs to go up, but none of the other wages are matching it. So when there was a job, that was taking $17 an hour to work at when we first started working that required a degree, that job still is only paying $17 an hour. Well, if I can make 15 minimum wage, why would I want to get a college degree and get burnt out working this job for 17? And unfortunately, I think this is where we're seeing teacher shortages and stuff too. It's just the pay rate is not keeping up with the cost of living and the demands on the job. I'm lucky I only work part-time, but I still take home a lot. I am working for several hours a day outside of the classroom, getting stuff done. And I can see it's wearing on me. So it's got to be wearing on people that are full-time in the classroom. And I'm seeing it with my colleagues and stuff, not just, having a school close on top of it, but also just, it's been rough. It's been rough. This is in our area and in our state, this is technically the first year back from COVID. We spent all last year remote. So this is our first year back and it's rough. I can feel it. But we're almost done. It's like a prisoner counting down the days. When I walk into the classroom in the morning, like we have so many days left. We have, 10 days left, 5 days left. And that's what it is. My middle child, my daughter, is counting down her days until she's done with school because she's over it. My oldest child is over it. Bless his heart, he got in my car at pickup line yesterday and told me that he has a band concert tonight. So he gave me like 24 hours warning, which is fine, except for he has to have a very specific outfit to wear, and I don't know if he has one. And I'm so burnt out. I don't care. I haven't looked. I probably should be looking while he is at school for this outfit, but I just don't care. He has it, he has it. He doesn't, he doesn't. We're going to do a close approximation. And those of you that are parents know at the end of the year, that's when everything gets super crazy. So we have all of the things. The end of the year classroom parties, the field days, end of the year concert events, any competitions or anything that happen right now. So it becomes quite hectic at the end of the year, having to bring money on certain days. We just had picture day and then we had soccer picture day. And it all comes at once at the end of the year. And we're trying to get rid of everything and get everything done and all of that stuff, and it can be quite overwhelming. But I'm lucky that I usually in general have a week between my end of the year and my children's end of the year, which is nice for me, gives me time to get my stuff closed out and everything. So, but before my kids are home and are there. And then one of the things we did last year, and it was so bad, like, I don't know why this happened. We were still remote last year for most of the year, but our kids got to go back to last week, 2 weeks of school, a couple days a week. So because of where our name fell in the alphabet, we were Tuesdays and Thursdays. The other part of the alphabet was Mondays and Wednesdays. So my kids got to go back for 2 weeks on Tuesday and Thursday. So they got like 4 or 5 days in actual school. And my kids have always brought their lunch. They've never ate hot lunch. I wish they would eat hot lunch. It would make my life 100 times easier, but they've never ate hot lunch. And they always take their lunch boxes. And my littlest was not in school yet. This is her first year of school. But my oldest took their lunches and we left that night to go on vacation. And we took a week-long vacation. And those of you that are parents know where I'm going with this. We did not clean out their lunch boxes or their backpacks before we left. We were just in that big of a hurry that we're like, okay, we're just going. And I didn't think to clean out their lunch boxes and backpacks. I didn't think to do any of that. And we came home and I just threw their lunch boxes away. It was so bad. It was so, so bad. I'm like, you guys want new lunch boxes next year anyway. It's fine. We just threw them away because, they smelled like I didn't even open them up. You could smell them from like a foot away. It was just horrific. And I don't want to do that this year. So I'm like, oh gosh, we got to make sure everything's clean. And even like not going on vacation or something, sometimes we forget about that. Like they come home on the last day of school and they're like, I'm done, and we don't do anything about it. And then, oh, the smell was bad. And we had somebody taking care of our cat while we were gone, and they had to have smelled that and been like, what the hell is that smell? Where is it? Like, we walked in the front door and it was like, whoa. It was bad. And they had treats they'd brought home. There was like, my daughter had cupcakes in her backpack and they had all molded. It was really bad. And like, teachers always give the kids so much stuff at the end of the year. I feel like they're just clearing their classrooms. But oh, it's this year, I know my kids come home from school on the last day of school. I'm going through all of their bags and lunch boxes, and we're not even going anywhere. But it's just like I don't want to forget that and have the bleh. It was so bad. Like the smell haunts me. Um, it's about as bad as the lost sippy cup in my minivan. And it was my youngest child's sippy cup. We couldn't figure out what was smelling in the van. I've and I thought it was a dead mouse because that had previously happened. A mouse got into our van and died. And so I thought it was a dead mouse. It was not. It was a sippy cup, and I had found it under the seat. It had rolled under the back of the passenger seat. It was green. It was so bad. It was a lost sippy cup of milk. It was so bad. Those of you that are parents, you know what I'm talking about. It was horrible. So don't let that happen to you. Don't forget about the sippy cups. And please watch my next video.
I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago. I've changed for the better.